illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
Trump has promised his administration is going to deport up to 1 million immigrants a year.
ICE is de immigratiepolitie waarmee Trump die belofte probeert waar te maken.
You see them everywhere. I mean, public parks, in the markets, at the immigration court.
Bijna een kwart van alle ICE-arrestaties in de VS gebeuren hier in Texas. Daarmee is de staat koploper van het land.
We're talking about people who haven't committed a crime but are being treated like criminals.
Once they get into the detention center, the outcomes are very bleak.
Free Sochi! This is something that's happening to thousands of people across the country that is affecting millions of people, tearing apart families. So extremely painful and unjust.
Trump beloofde achter de zwaarste criminelen aan te gaan. Maar wie wordt er in werkelijkheid allemaal door dit beleid getroffen?
Sentía mal porque yo decía, yo no soy una delincuente. Yo no tengo por qué pasar por esto.
This is happening. This is happening in the United States, this land of the free.
But do you want to announce in here as well that it's like...
6 jaar geleden verhuisde ik van België naar Texas. Sinds Trump hier opnieuw president is, zie ik de effecten van zijn harde immigratiebeleid overal om me heen.
No, that's the old one.
That's old?
Yeah, revision one.
Mijn collega, podcastmaker Mando Rayo, is een publieke stem uit de Latino-gemeenschap. De groep die het hardst door deze regering wordt geviseerd.
Buenos dias, mi gente. Mando Rayo here with the Tacos of Texas. We're going to be ready to record a bonus episode with the award-winning Maria Hinojosa. We'll be here recording today, this morning, Monday, as a bonus episode. It'll go live on the feed later on, but yeah. Oh, how does that sound? Let's go. Oh, it's still recording. Shit. How do you stop it? Obviously, I'm not a millennial. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. I'm gonna do a quick episode intro. The Tacos of Texas podcast it's a way for us to tell our stories around identity and culture, and we start with food. And so there's lots of interviews, lots of stories. So you hook people. Who doesn't want to talk about tacos, right?
My colleague was like, well, let's go have this type of tacos. And I was like, oh my God, I've never had those type of tacos. And she was like, you're not Mexican.
But then we explore the issues that come along with it, right? Like gentrification, immigration. And so while it may start lighthearted, you know, and very delicious, the complexity's there. And so we talk about that. What are you seeing out in the, you know, as you travel the world, Chicago, you know, some of the raids that have been happening in restaurants?
They have made us into the target of hate by this government. You know, it's the government that is terrorizing us.
Yeah.
Like, what? It is the government. It is mostly men in masks.
We're all impacted by immigration. I come from a family of immigrants. My wife is an immigrant, and I was born in the border of El Paso in Texas, in the United States.
El Paso is een Amerikaanse stad, pal aan de grens met Mexico. Het merendeel van de inwoners heeft Latino-roots. De stad is een kruispunt van handel en cultuur tussen de VS en Mexico. Door die context belandt Mando in het vizier van ICE.
They were targeting people that were born along the border, and I was part of that process. And when I got the questions about, you know, where I was born and all that, and how they had to hold on to my birth certificate and question basically the validity of my birth certificate, I was like taken away. I was like, what? What do you mean? What's happening? For 4 years, I had to prove that I was a US citizen. So I had to find school records, baptism records, medical records. I had to get testimonies from family members or even like teachers. And some people were deported because of that, because they didn't have the documentation. This idea around like, oh, all of a sudden you be plucked away and taken to a country that you never knew. For me, it was just like this sense of anxiety, of fear, and that's happening all over again, right? That's happening here today in 2025.
Het lijkt wel een nachtmerrie. Van straat gesleurd worden door gewapende, gemaskerde mannen zonder identificatie.
Can you please specify what agency is taking him, please? Excuse me. They're not talking to me. I don't know.
Het is het werk van de Amerikaanse Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE.
Hi, this is Uriel Garcia with the Texas Tribune. How are you? I was calling, I wanted to confirm this report with Fox 4 saying ICE is the enforcement arm of the Department of Homeland Security. Their job is to find, arrest, and deport immigrants who can be removed from the U.S. After 2001, after the 9/11 attacks, they created ICE, and initially it was just no one really thought of anything other than, okay, well, the U.S. needs its immigration laws and it needs its own immigration departments to enforce these laws, right? But as time has gone on, and as the topic of immigration and immigrants themselves have been politicized by American politicians, the U.S. Congress has funded the Department of Homeland Security to hire more ICE officers. And in fact, under the second Trump administration, it's become the largest law enforcement agency right now, and there's no indication that it's going to get smaller anytime soon. When I studied journalism, I was in college during a very anti-immigrant sentiment in Arizona. I felt a lot of these anti-immigrant sentiments. I did not realize that sort of movement was going to grow into what the government is doing now.
Een van de velen die verstrikt raakten in het web van het harde migratiebeleid is Catalina Xochitl Santiago. Op haar 9e trok ze samen met haar moeder van Mexico naar de VS. Ik ontmoet haar partner Desiree op de community farm waar ze elkaar voor het eerst leerden kennen.
So me and Xochitl both started out at that farm as volunteers. It's a community building project. We work particularly in a neighborhood that is very, very close to the border wall. It's like the neighborhood starts right where the kind of border wall freeway ends. We work there basically trying to help people connect with one another, and through there we got to know each other. Xochitl doesn't drive, so she would need a ride a lot of the times. I like to be useful, so I was like, yeah, I can pick you up. I'll give you a ride. And then I feel like one day she got in my car and she just never stopped getting in my car. She just, there's something, we're very different people. We're very different people. She's much more of a social butterfly. She's very outgoing. But I think that there's something kind of unspoken in the closeness that we feel for each other. Even though we're so different, there is kind of like a comfort that both of us have never felt with anybody else that we met before. We were supposed to be going on a trip for work, and I had left the day before to visit some of my family. And then the next day, when she was getting on the plane, early in the morning, around 5, I got a message. It was a video, and then she also told me that the Border Patrol agents who were at the airport, who did like TSA, the security check-in, that they had taken her DOCU card and weren't giving it back.
Okay, I'm asking you some immigration documents here. Do you have a visa?
I have a work permit.
Okay, do you have a visa?
What you have in hand is my work
Okay, go
authorization.
ahead, go through the screening. I'll see you on the far side, okay?
Sochil kan werken en verblijven in de VS, omdat ze beschermd wordt door DACA, een speciale regeling voor mensen die als minderjarigen naar de VS zijn gebracht.
Go ahead, go through screening. I'll see you on the far side. Do you not want to take your airplane ride?
Are you threatening me?
No, I'm not threatening you. I'm asking you, do you want to take your airplane ride? If you do, go through screening.
When I saw the message, I didn't know what had happened. I was kind of like waiting to hear from her again. I texted her back like, what happened? Did they let you on the plane?
Go ahead and turn off your phone. You can come in with us downstairs, okay?
For what?
We're going to question you in regards to your documents.
What's the questioning for?
Downstairs, we'll talk about it.
What's the questioning for?
How you got the employment authorization?
I need to have my lawyer here.
Yeah, hey, that's fine.
You can wait for my lawyer.
Well, you can't see your lawyer unless you go back plane ticket. So we're already past screening. So it doesn't work that way. We're going to go downstairs.
Why are you questioning me?
I just explained it to you. Go ahead, turn off your phone.
And then a couple hours later, I got a message that she was in ICE custody. I think the few days following, like I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I don't know how to explain the amount of anxiety that was in my body. She's lived with that fear that something like this would happen for her entire life. Even knowing that it's a possibility can't prepare you for it actually happening, though, I think.
Naar schatting leven zo'n 14 miljoen mensen zonder papieren in de VS. Geen papieren hebben is hier op zich niet strafbaar. Het geldt als een burgerlijke overtreding. Maar mensen zonder papieren moeten zich wel op vaste tijdstippen melden bij één van de ICE-kantoren. Daar worden hun gegevens gecontroleerd.
Hola, nosotros somos una organización sin fines de lucro aquí en San Antonio. Nosotros hacemos como si usted tiene corte en el futuro y quiere presentar.
Aan één van de kantoren ontmoet ik Amanda, een immigratieadvocaat die mensen helpt met hun dossiers. Zij ziet van dichtbij hoe deze check-ins steeds riskanter worden.
Si cualquier cosa pasa y usted no puede contactar a su abogado, llama a nosotros, okay?
The Trump administration ran on the platform of mass deportations. Trump did say also, I'm going to focus on people with criminal history. And so they were, picking up all those people, and he was getting some numbers, I guess. But there's not enough. There's not enough to make mass deportation numbers. Now, it's just kind of, that's such an ugly way to say it, but just kind of like open season. Like they just want everybody. Now everyone's getting picked up in routine traffic stops and showing up for their ICE check-ins. I talk to a lot of people and I like to give them information, tell them what's going to happen to them potentially and what they're going to need to do next.
Porque es muy importante si usted puede presentar en línea para su audiencia que usted sí lo hace.
An ICE check-in is very dehumanizing. They all sit outside and they wait for their name to be called. And when their name is called, they're either given their next check-in date in a year or they are detained. And you never know which one that's going to be. So once someone walks through that door, it is almost certain that they will be detained.
So basically the people that are being called in are being detained and the people that walk back are good?
Yes.
So that gentleman is going to be processed. His case is going to be reviewed. He's going to be detained and then transported to the nearest detention center with capacity. And so this might be kind of the beginning of a 6-month detention that ends in a deportation order.
Zijn weg.
Wat hier gebeurt, haalt zelden het nieuws. Geen gewelddadige arrestaties, maar mensen die zich aanmelden voor een routineafspraak en opgepakt worden. Wegblijven is geen veilig alternatief. Wie niet komt opdagen, overtreedt de wet en riskeert zo hetzelfde lot. Het voelt als een onmogelijke keuze.
The randomness makes it so hard to predict. It's like a question of, okay, maybe they're not going to send a flight to Colombia for 2 months. So why would they pick up any Colombians today? Because then they're just going to be sitting there taking up space for 2 months. It's all capacity, like how much room is in a detention center has nothing to do with the individual facts of a person. I feel sometimes very powerless even as an attorney. To just like watch the families be like ripped apart right in front of your eyes is really hard to watch. Yeah, it's just really hard to watch. Especially knowing that the reason why they went was to comply with the law.
Vandaag komt de zaak van Xochitl voor de rechter. Die beslist of zij kan worden vrijgelaten.
Free, free Xochitl! Up, up with liberation! Up, up with liberation! Down, down with deportation! Down, down with deportation!
It was a really terrible few hours in the courtroom. Because she has DOCU, they legally cannot deport her. The lawyer for the government admitted that they can't deport her, but they just want to detain her because they can, basically because there's nothing stopping them, according to them, from detaining her.
When the judge was asking questions to this DHS lady or whoever she was, the government lady, that she was
It was just so frustrating. Especially because the judge didn't make a ruling.
That's also what I'm waiting for, because like the press is starting to show up.
Is there anything you would say personally to the judge about making a decision when there's so much anticipation and waiting on the line?
I believe that the judge probably understands the weight of this decision that she's making, and that there are a lot of people watching. This is something that shouldn't be happening to anybody. It is deeply painful that it's happening to me, but I feel for every person who's, millions of people across the country who are either detained or have their loved ones who are being detained.
Okay, thank you, Desiree.
In afwachting van een uitspraak blijft Xochitl in detentie.
What I would want the most is for Xochitl to come home. But I also am afraid that when she comes out, her and lots of other people in this country will never be safe as long as it is the way that it is.
Detention facilities, it's a business. A lot of these detention centers are privately run by companies. And the incentive for these companies is to make money. The way they make money is by the more immigrants that they hold, the more money they get because they have private contracts with the federal government. You can think of them as prisons for people who've not been convicted of anything. And it's very Kafkaesque. Sometimes there's not a very specific charge or what they're being blamed for or what they're being accused of. And they get ultimately detained for a long time, and they don't know if they're ever going to get out. And, you know, I can't imagine being in a situation like that where, like, every day you got to wake up and find out, am I going to be in this country or not?
In een brief omschrijft Xochitl de omstandigheden in het detentiecentrum.
Those that work here make fun of immigrants in English. There are 2 pregnant women who have not received appropriate nourishment. When people get sick, they make fun of them and the nurses only offer them water. The water in here stinks, and yet we still drink it. The security guards who work at night don't let us sleep peacefully. They have their radio set at the highest volume and have loud conversations with one another. You ask permission to use the bathroom and bathe yourself at certain times of the day. Here we breathe companionship and solidarity. Here we share ailments, stories, advice, encouragements, and learn to play games together. Thank you so much for accompanying me in this journey. And how they say in the South, the fight continues until dignity becomes the norm. It's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. And the way that she thinks and that she sees the world. It also makes me feel so scared that I don't know, I just feel so small. There's so little I can do. There's just so much that is out of our control.
Wie in ICE-detentie terechtkomt, maakt doorgaans weinig kans op vrijlating. Een van de uitzonderingen zijn deze moeder en dochter. Amanda helpt hen met hun asielaanvraag. Ze kwamen naar de VS om het dictatoriale bewind in Venezuela te ontvluchten.
Yo ahorita me dedico a las aplicaciones de delivery, como DoorDash, Uber, Amazon, esas aplicaciones. Y mi esposo trabaja en una empresa de construcción.
Haar dochter van 12 gaat sinds kort naar school hier in de VS.
A mí me gustaría graduarme, la secundaria y eso. A futuro pues cumplir alguno de los sueños que quiero. Diseño gráfico. Me gustaría también diseñar, o sea, hacer mis propios diseños. Pero la verdad quiero tener una vida estable a mi futuro.
Enkele maanden geleden kreeg deze familie een oproep om hun asielaanvraag te verdedigen bij de immigratierechtbank.
Pues llegamos, nos sentamos y ahí el de la corte empezó a hablar. Había una traductora que estaba traduciendo lo que decía. Pues llamaron a mi padre, bueno, padrastro, lo llamaron para hacerle preguntas por qué tiene miedo de regresar a Venezuela, por qué tenía miedo, qué pasaría si regresaba. Mi mamá levantó la mano, también dijo qué pasaría y eso.
Con mucho respeto siempre le dije, estimado juez y su señoría. Y él me dijo, cállese y siéntese. El corte duró 1 hora y media. Y cuando salí, ya estaban esperando como 6 agentes de la ICE.
Fuimos en un autobús que nos estaba esperando afuera y nos enviaron al reclutero familiar. Los primeros días se sentían como, pues, feos, obviamente. Prefería ir a la escuela que estar ahí encerrada.
El simple hecho de simplemente hacer todos los días lo mismo y no saber cuándo vas a salir y que ya habían comenzado las clases de los niños y ya no podía asistir, era frustrante.
Dankzij het werk van Amanda kon deze familie het detentiecentrum na 20 dagen verlaten. Maar hun toekomst blijft onzeker. In de tussentijd is de moeder verplicht een monitor om haar pols te dragen, die dagelijks haar locatie en foto's doorstuurt naar ICE.
Es un grillete, no se puede quitar. Está pegado. La mañana me tengo que tomar una foto todos los días. Tengo que presionar acá, como aparecen notificaciones, le doy acá, coloco la clave que me dijeron y aquí en registro le doy continuar, me tomo una foto y la envío al... Y ahí ya ellos saben la ubicación donde estoy. La gente te mira cuando vas a un supermercado, la gente me miraba y hablaban entre ellos. Y yo me sentía así como... Me sentía como con ganas de llorar, me sentía mal porque yo decía, yo no soy una delincuente, yo no tengo por qué pasar por esto. Entonces yo estoy siguiendo las leyes, yo hice mi asilo, hice todo mi trámite. Si hay una persona que está siguiendo correctamente los pasos a seguir, ¿por qué llevarlo al centro de detención? ¿Por qué hacerle pasar todo eso?
Trump beloofde achter de ergste criminelen aan te gaan. Maar meer dan 70% van de mensen die nu in ICE-detentie zitten, heeft geen strafblad. Uiteindelijk beslist een federale rechter dat de detentie van Xochitl onwettig is. Na ruim 2 maanden komt ze vrij.
When my attorney said you're out, I was in complete disbelief.
The priests, all the things that they say.
The time we didn't spend together in those 2 months, I'm oh yeah, I feel I was robbed of a lot. It was very special to just watch a movie, eat ice cream together, eat fruits, cook together. There were so many times where I was I want to tell Des this. I wonder what Des is thinking. But to actually do that in real life, in real time, has been very special. Someone just threw it out and then Kami just got it. And then I brought it back to life. So there's a certain sadness that came with knowing that I shouldn't be the only one that needed to celebrate, which also I felt this sense of guilt that why couldn't everyone else get out? One of the people I met there when I first got there, she's also someone indigenous. She had this sweater. So I was helping her wash it. So she put soap on it. And then to squeeze the water out, we twisted the sweater. She had it on one end, I had it on another end. And she was oh yeah, let's do this one last time. And I was well, you will also be out soon. And we would see the fluffy clouds in the mountains and say, oh yeah, we will go and hike and we'll meet again outside. And to know that what we lived would would change us for sure for the rest of our lives, but it also would be just like bad memories one day.
Hoewel Xochitl vrij is, leeft ze nog steeds in grote onzekerheid. En dat is geen uitzondering. De rechten van miljoenen migranten staan onder druk.
I think there's been a perception by American journalists and the general American public that the US government only goes after criminals or immigrants who have a criminal history. But as time has gone on, the definition of who a criminal is has expanded. And this administration has even said that they're going to start stripping the US citizenship of certain American citizens if they believe that they've committed a crime. So again, because the definition of a criminal element has been expanded, a lot of people feel like this could mean anyone that the government doesn't like.
Hey, wait, that's not how you arrest people. Get on the ground. That's not how you arrest people. Get on the ground. Now, on the ground. On the ground. Get on the ground. I got rights to talk, bro. I know right here. I do. Get up. I was born and raised.
ICE werd in het leven geroepen om Amerikaanse burgers te beschermen. Maar met een politiemacht die nu ook achter eigen burgers, kritische stemmen en politieke tegenstanders dreigt te gaan, lijkt die missie gevaarlijk te kantelen.
I think there's legitimate concerns that we're going down a route where we may not have a democracy, and that's not a political statement. I think anyone who is looking at what's going on in the United States should be concerned about immigrant civil liberties, because if those who study immigration and constitutional law, if what they're saying is true, then we are going down a dark path.
The conditions in there are designed to break people down. We've all had so many meltdowns in there. At the same time, I also know that we've gone through things, and especially like Indigenous people, putting into perspective, we've actually endured 500 years of colonization. Like, the historical context allowed us to have perspective around like what we were going through, and that just being a small fragment of this bigger picture of state violence. I can't let like state violence like win.